Hello, this is George Sandman. I'm the founder and CEO of Growth Drive. And Growth Drive is a system used by business advisors to drive client profits, growth, and value. Now, we're also a community. Every week we get together to talk about all things business advisor, everything clients, cases, things we're seeing out in the world. Now, tune in here to this podcast, and you can join the conversation by scanning this QR code, passcode 867-5309. Jump into the conversation. Everyone's welcome. We're looking forward to having you. So here we go. On with the show.
Morning, sir.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Well, how does everyone know? Like, what is that broadcast?
It's on LinkedIn.
Oh, really? Did it without my consent? How dare?
What's up, man?
Not too much. Well, actually a lot. Uh, I know we didn't really get to finish the conversation we had like before this coffee Klatsch, 2 weeks ago. But I kind of took the hint, and it was, and correct me if I'm wrong, but focusing on the thing that I am presenting rather than the entire process is really what I should be doing. So what I've kind of constructed is, the kind of the discovery, and that's really what I am presenting if for no other piece, right? So I'm getting in front of people, I'm telling them that, this is, what I can do, this is how I can help. But not straight. It's a lot more nuanced. It's a consult. Yeah, I haven't had my coffee this morning, and I'm on my laptop. And please forgive me.
Why haven't you had your coffee?
So I'm working from home today, because I normally work up north in Alpharetta, and I live down here in Smyrna, and everything that I need to do today is down here in Smyrna. So I'm working from home.
So that's
And
not a good reason to not have coffee.
yeah, I agree.
Look, you're not answering my question.
So, but anyway, let me
Hey,
back up.
here's the
Oh,
deal,
go ahead.
right? When you get down to it, What you need is more meetings with people where you're
Right.
asking them questions about what they're trying to accomplish.
And that's really what I'm getting set up. I haven't sat down with like the business owners themselves yet. It's more been COIs that are linked to those business owners. I do have 3 strong leads that I need to sit down with for exactly what you're talking about, to really qualify them for the process and asking them, like, what are they working towards? What do they need? All of these types of things, right?
So here's the deal. What questions will have your target client want to learn more?
What questions would have them want to learn more?
So when you really think about it, you ready? We're either sharing information and hoping they decide they like that information and they want to learn more, or we're asking questions of them that ethically and morally cause cognitive dissonance, where they go, damn, right? So, for example, that reality is why most people don't collaborate effectively, because they're not able to provocatively and seductively introduce other professionals. So they introduce them as information people. So, like, here's how I introduce an investment banker right away, every time. I say, hey, that's great. I'm so excited you want to work with me to grow your business. What if something happens? And they all know my story, and you can use my story because they have a friend who lost everything because one day his son was born, right? And they go, well, what do you mean? I'm like, you have a heart attack and are disabled. What happens to your company? And they're like, I'm like, this is a real question. The reason we want to have you meet an investment banker is not to sell your company. It's so that if
That
something
relationship is established.
well, yeah, if that relationship,
Yeah.
I'm just having the same conversation, Eric, that I had with you earlier. But
Interesting.
but that's where I see most growth drivers, and to a lesser degree, growth drivers, and to a greater degree, other people in the exit planning space failing, is they do not understand. That's incorrect. They don't think about how to make introductions from a commercial sales background. They don't have the capability to make the case for somebody else without having to be that other person.
Where do I go to learn this?
It's the Magna Cum Hard Knocks.
Great.
There's a really good there's a really good school in Tibet.
Right.
Namaste you.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. How are you?
Good morning, George.
Larry Prince.
Mike.
Where is he?
Larry. We're going up.
Good to see everyone. Got the band back.
What's on everyone's mind this morning?
Larry Prince is what's on our minds.
Handsome, smart, debonair.
That's you're talking about Mike.
Definitely not.
Now, hold on. Let's just
Wait.
recognize that Mike's haircut got a lot better.
Who am I?
High and tight.
Oh, okay.
Who am I right now?
Looking good, Mike. Looking good.
Right. Yeah. All right. It's time for everyone needs another optometrist.
Hey guys, I was down in Old San Juan at the Madison Insurance Group conference.
Yeah, tell us about the conference. How was it?
Tell us briefly.
It was great. It was great. So I have a bunch of key takeaways. Number one is giving Mark Sims 5 minutes to explain the Madison Insurance program is profoundly unfair.
I agree.
Hyper sophisticated, guys. It is so well designed, and I draw that conclusion from the people who were in the room and getting to know the entire team, Madison team. You know, it's they had their whole team there. The level of care and diligence they're putting into each policy they underwrite, and their unwavering adherence to their standards, to their policies, to their commitment to always stay compliant with their partners, their underwriting, their actuaries. Guys, I was floored. And you know what's cool? I will tell you, brand is the outward manifestation of culture. The reason we think of Madison positively, Sims and his team have created a culture. They clearly like each other, which is great. He called each person up on stage by name, and a little under 30 people, and gave a quick description, heartfelt, written. This was not AI written. And as each person went up, there were fist bumps, there were backslaps, there were smiles, there were whispered comments. They were utterly relaxed. They clearly know, like, and trust each other, and that it just radiated from the stage. That is very, very hard to do, and can only be like everyone. And it was done intentionally. Everyone I met was a top flight pro, and let's stop at what George thinks, because frankly, who cares? The sophistication of the advisors in the room, they're like you. They're top players, top of their game. Professionals from, let's name, I can name drop a bunch, but, you're talking about the top players at CBiz, the top players at Morgan Stanley, et cetera, et cetera. It was impressive as hell. And as I said, I gave the keynote, and as I said, I'm like, guys, I want to tell you that panel, right? The panel we just heard, I feel dumber. I just realized that these guys were absolute rock stars. So
we should, George, we should try and start having, we're at the beginning stages, but let's start trying to have that culture here at Growth Drive.
Amen. Wow. Somebody get it out.
And Larry,
well, that's one of the things.
Larry didn't say anything.
We're blessed.
I didn't say anything because I know Eric is joking, because it is our culture. But I let Eric have his moment of joking. Yeah, look, George. In all seriousness, George, we have what you just described. We could have taken the word Madison Insurance out, and you could have been describing Growth Drive, which is really, really cool that we have that same kind of culture where we all defer to each other. There are always on this call, there are smart people always at the summit. There are smart people. We collaborate. We know each other by name. We defer to each other. All the things you said are true of this group as well.
Well, thank you very much, Eric. And
I know that you'll say immediately that's not you, right? And you're right, it's not completely you, but you're the leader of that. And so thank you for leading us there.
It's not me, man. It's you guys. And I'll die on that cross. Hey, Mr. Battle, good morning. Thank you very much. I don't want to, thank you, Eric.
No,
we're
good.
We have a great community.
So
and we
Jemiah wins for best background. I love that art. Bring a little bit of class.
Good morning, Jemiah. Welcome. Love to have you.
Very happy to be here, man. Joined the community just this past week from my buddy. Let me see, is he in the group here?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Steven invited me, and I've only been probably on the call 2-3 minutes, and it's everything he said it was. Just that quick, just from the energy in the room and what I've been able to read from the forum. So very grateful to be here and learn.
Awesome, man. Well, we're thrilled to have you. Where do you focus? Just, hey, shameless self-promotion, Jemiah. Why do clients hire you?
Value growth advisory and exit readiness, but more so on helping clients get emotionally fit for transition, get emotionally and mentally ready for transition, ensure their legacy, fortify their wealth. Certified CEPA, but I'm more so on the value acceleration side, creating value and just helping them really secure wealth, become emotionally ready, get more than they would if they just go to market or liquidate. All the value growth advisory. So that's my sweet spot. Previously, I've entertained some other methodologies. value builders, some all the stuff they throw at you. I don't know who else on here is a secret, but all the other things they kind of throw at you. And I've entertained a couple, and just from the conversation with Steven and learning the community, I'm interested to see this one seems more in focus, but also more authentic to the actual partner client, and actually serving them and actually making an impact in their life. So I'm excited to learn more. And I'm in the Greenville, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina strip. So I'm based in Greenville. Yeah, based in Greenville, probably be based in Atlanta first quarter, but that whole little 85 corridor is kind of my playground a little bit.
Outstanding. I have a couple of people you need to meet. Yeah, that I'm down in Charleston. So
I need to read that. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Jemiah. It's great to have you. I can't wait to get to know you more.
I still have PTSD from 85.
And Barry Goodman. Barry's back from Spain. Hey, Barry, how are you, man?
Hey, Barry.
Tired. How are you?
Tired.
Barry, did you get any Iberico pork? Did you have some of that?
I had a lot of different things.
Oh,
It's beautiful. I love Spain.
I love Riojas. Love them.
Yeah. No, I was in southern Spain, in Marbella.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Costa del Sol.
Yeah.
Tim was just in that area in September.
Yeah.
We didn't get to Costa del Sol. We went the other way. We went up towards Costa Brava and Barcelona, but it was very nice.
It rained probably 30-40% of the time.
Wow.
Dang.
I'm sorry.
Well,
So it's like
playing
the
golf
best
in
of
the rain.
Scotland. So it's like the
Playing
best of
golf in the
Scotland
rain
and
was
the
a
best of
major
Spain.
challenge. Pardon?
I said it's like the best of Scotland and Spain put together.
Well, when I went to Scotland, there was no rain and it was 70 degrees.
We have schizophrenic.
Barry, the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plane.
That is a bunch of bull.
So, Jemiah, when you see Barry light up at a meeting and he's talking to people and he's like all animated, you think he's talking about his grandkids. Maybe.
And he might be.
But really, he's talking about playing golf.
Larry, you should know by now that grandchildren come first.
I know that. Yeah, I tease you, and I know they come first.
Yeah.
But he's equally animated when it comes to grandchildren and golf.
Grandchildren on
And
the
triangle, growth drive. Grandchildren, growth drive.
G3, baby.
Guys, one of the things that came out of this, Barry, I was just before you came on, I was just sharing a little bit about the Madison Insurance Group event down in San Juan, and they were wonderful hosts. They were wonderful hosts. So one of the thoughts that came out of this is, we've talked to commercial banks and it's gone nowhere because the commercial guys at the end of the day, I mean, they have a quota and getting into analyzing business risk in any way other than the way the mothership wants it done. But when we think about insurance, when we think about business interruption insurance, when we think about, we have to protect value, which helps surface ways to protect what's already been created, right? Maybe helps protect cash going into the future. But the concept of strategic capacity, I talked to them, was probably my best received talk to date, and I've given more than a couple. Incredibly well received. And I did not talk about strategic capacity in terms of understanding underwriting risk, but it's very real. And when I actually talked to one of Madison's risk people, they were really intrigued. They actually were leaning forward and getting excited about the concept of understanding strategic capacity as one of the ways, as an additional way to understand underwriting risk when we start talking about sophisticated business insurance. And it's fascinating, man. This isn't about me. Please don't take this the wrong way, but you had people leaning forward, taking notes, taking pictures, like really getting jacked up about what I was talking to. And I really just walked through the strategic capacity, what it means, the private capital markets perspective. I'm happy to share the deck I'll post it in Circle. It's very simple. It's 16 slides, each of the 3 dimensions of growth, and just wove a narrative. Got some you know me, right? I got to get the room involved, but it was really, really well received. And we didn't talk about the software at all. Not one mention. And maybe that's why it was so well received. But there's it. It was cool, guys. And that might be. I was talking with Larry this morning as I walked into work, and the concept of I was coaching one of you guys called me last week and was explaining their case and this client like really wants to change but can't get off the starting block. And I suggested, I'm like, maybe you should talk to him about just let's protect what you have now. And it might be that an introduction to containing risk, right? Protecting against business interruption, et cetera, might be a great way to just start delivering value, even if it doesn't generate $1 of revenue for you. And this he's one of us, right? He's fine with that. He knows that over the long term, if he helps this client, good things will happen. Good things will happen. Good things will happen for the client, most importantly, and for the way the client sees him. And I'd love to. I mean, there are a couple of conversation lines here, but what does that resonate with you, gentlemen?
Mike has a question.
So I love that. The thing that I wanted to bring up is based upon our call earlier, George.
Yes.
Like, I think looking back over many mistakes I have made, some of them on purpose, I hate to say it, but like all these mistakes, I think when you look at commercial sales from a professional standpoint, you begin to view your sales process as a parallel integrated track with numerous other professionals. So most commercial salespeople sell on a timeline, and that timeline is highly collaborative because of the complexity of increasing strategic capacity, frankly. And to your point, when I think about Madison, I think that Madison's ROI for being involved in Growth Drive is going to be, to a great extent, predicated upon Growth Drive's personnel's ability to think like a commercial salesperson, to be able to understand how to collaboratively sell, meaning like you're not the only person working with that company. If you're working with the right company, there are other professionals that are existing in other timelines that directly and indirectly affect what's happening. I think that is the opportunity for Madison. I know that they understand it because I've had some conversations with them, one-on-one. But I think that's when you guys think about, can I borrow your car selfishly, when you think about all these things, the more that you can start thinking about, how am I specifically going to acknowledge the other timelines and the other professionals that are currently working that I may know about and may not know about, and then start thinking about how you structure your conversations, your sales process to take that into account. Because the temptation is always, I'm just going to focus, I'm going to get mine, right? I'm not going to worry about, I'm going to get mine. But it's so much harder to back into effective collaboration with other professionals after you get the deal than to collaborate while selling. So I call it a relationship stack. So I just wanted to amplify what you said, George, and specifically when like Madison is going to, are good salespeople. If you tee them up with introductions, they'll be able to take it. But the real value where Growth Drive becomes something that they want to continue to heavily invest in, that they want to be able to help us, Growth Drive is going to require us to raise our game from a commercial sales perspective, to be able to introduce strategically, thoughtfully, and with good reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny when we think about an ideal world, and this is a conversation we've kind of started in this community. And last week during the Coffee Klatsch, we started talking about a theme for the 2026 Growth Drive Summit. October 5, 6, and 7, 2026 here in beautiful Charleston, South Carolina. I'm looking forward to seeing each and all of you at the Francis Marion Hotel. And yes, I think we have the aquarium again also. Anyway, when we think about the theme, Joseph Frasco, one of our, I mean, a sophisticated thinker, right? I mean, the guy is super successful
Giver.
and deep. I love his ethos. Joseph said, put out there collaborative deal teams. And in an ideal world, a collaborative deal team, commercials aside, making money aside, we should be able to say, well, right now, in an ideal world, right now you should really be, it may not be me. It may be this other, you need a fractional CFO, or you need to be thinking about insurance or whatever. Is that what am I picking up the thread?
That's where I'm going. And so my sales cycle when I was in commercial sales for copiers was 3 to 5 years. So a lot of commercial sales processes, not pitching. Okay. But I'm talking actual real commercial sales where you identify clients and you're working with them. But most of these timelines are 3 to 5 years. And I question if as a community, we are consciously thinking of that when we are looking at collaboration. Are we acknowledging the reality of all the other professionals, like the copier guy, the computer guy, the building maintenance guy? The collaboration isn't just other growth drivers that are working on revenue. There's a whole nother network, which I get most of my referrals from, the other people.
So I think of it in terms of a biosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And then that biosphere, and if you think about whatever that word should conjure in your mind, is a very complicated, but self-sustaining organism.
Well, if you think about it, if you try and force feed 10 introductions in the first 3 months, does that really serve your client?
Yeah.
It might get you fired.
Well, it's because we all got people that we trust that we want to have involved.
Yeah.
But we got to think about when.
Mike, I think there's another. Sorry, Larry, go ahead. Friday morning, met with a business owner, classic manufacturing, 5 lines of manufacturing. They infuse perfumes into vials. $18 million business, 80 employees. His mind is spinning. He needs help. Here's what I never asked him, Mike. Who in your circle are your trusted advisors right now? Who do you rely on right now? Because I thought the start point was me, but I'm wrong. What if he said, I have an excellent accountant that I rely on? All right. Right now, my commercial real estate guy, because without growing this space, I've been working with closely. I kind of needed to ask that to know where he is at the center, and who are the other advisors, those people involved in his life that I need to get to know as well.
And what other strategic initiatives are ongoing?
Right.
Because that same question that you would ask, Larry, would have teased out your point on the commercial thing, would have teased out, oh, I'm working on a new building. That's an initiative that's going on that you might not get to, right?
Why? Right. Eric, and I would just say, tell me more why you're doing that. Where do you see that going?
Yeah.
How is it affecting you now? What's at risk now? I didn't do that. And all of a sudden now the light bulb goes off, because I'm thinking it's about what I could do, but it's so.
I was going to jump in with another comment, Mike, and I think there are 2 parts to this, right? There's the part you're talking about looking broader at who's, instead of going in to say, how can I sell this person something, going in to say, how can I solve their problem? And if we look at it from how I can solve their problem, we look at it from the right perspective, their problem, not what I'm going to do. And then you can sort. But the other side of that coin is that we something I call the Taco Bell principle. If you walk into McDonald's and ask for a taco, there are really 3 choices. You can try and go in the back and make a taco, which is the only wrong choice. don't try and make a taco for somebody when you're not Taco Bell, or you can send them down the street to Taco Bell, or you can offer them a hamburger, right? And offering them a hamburger and they might change their mind. My point being, too many times we try and do something that's not in our lane and we do it half-assed, and that doesn't help us either, right?
Yeah.
And so there are two sides of the same coin. We need to be looking at the whole problem and trying to solve it, but we also need to not try and do everything for them. We need to be thoughtful about looking at who's the right person to solve that problem for them.
And I know Jemiah has a comment, Eric, to pick up on that point. A general contractor does not do the plumbing, right? Are you a 1 or a 5, man? And a 4 isn't going to do the plumbing.
Barry wanted to talk too.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jemiah, you had a comment, it looked like.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with everyone. Comments is kind of saying, kind of being that, I like to call it kind of that trusted concierge advisor, where I'm there. It's my job to, kind of build those ancillary, as you were saying, those other partnerships with those advisors that's already trusted, whether it's the financial wealth advisor, the CPA, the M&A attorney, the investment bankers. Because a business owner, like you said, they may be tunnel vision. They may only speak to their accountant and they're not thinking about this whole ecosystem or have the time to or the bandwidth. So kind of positioning ourselves to be that trusted concierge advisor. And then we're able to, we got the partnerships with all those guys too, if they don't, but being able to kind of manage, I hate using that word quarterback because it gets misused a lot, but we're kind of able to manage those relationships and kind of bring everybody to the table and then present the best solution to the business owner. And kind of doing that is kind of, I think, where we excel at, and just being that trusted advisor, especially now with AI and, kind of staying high touch. When everybody's talking high tech, they still want to have someone that they know like fresh and they can shake hands. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna run this past, I'm gonna run this past George, or I'm gonna run this past Larry and see what they think. And hopefully we're building relationships with all those other ancillary things that we know they may need that we don't do. Like I suck at marketing. I'm never gonna go learn it, but I know some great marketing guys that I trust, kind of got the same philosophy, kind of got the same, integrity, and just building those, those relationships. So yeah, I think that being that go-to person, that trusted advisor for all the growth and not actually doing it,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
100%, man. 100%. You think this goes to the growth conversation and establishing strategic intent, and what we might weave in, and Larry, next time we redo the C3D, we weave in, by the way, who else is in the room that I don't see? Who's invisible but in this room with me? Barry, you had a comment, man.
Well, Larry, you were talking about, you were, that you were hired to do X. You have a mandate when you go in and help a client. You're not trying to solve the entire universe. Jim, my experience is you're hired to solve a problem. And how you solve that problem and who else you bring in is really geared towards the mandate of which you were hired for. Now that mandate may expand over time, but you can't. My experience is every time you go in and you try to solve the universe, you're going to fail. You can't do that. At least that's my experience.
Yeah.
It's really what we're hired to solve problems.
Well, it all depends upon your business design, right? Which problems?
Well, if it's not the problem that you're qualified to solve, you're not going to. That's not what you can do. Now you can collaborate with somebody else to solve that problem, which is where I think you were talking, but that's not really your mandate.
I'm with you 100%.
And you're going off in a direction that you really have no control over or no knowledge of.
100%. Like one of the things, so I love your comment because I'm not trying in my system. I'm not trying to run the entire show. I think the quarterback thing is stupid. It doesn't make sense because you've got two different things, like quarterback of personal quarterback. It just doesn't work. Right. But to Barry's point, I think that the mandate, if we're really going to be collaborative, and you've got to understand nuance when you do this so that you don't get out of scope, right? And kill yourself on not being paid, but also getting off scope and being fired because you're not delivering the mandate. I like to say, hey, like, you've hired me, Barry, to do this. Can I ask a couple questions about other things that are happening in the business that I need to be aware of to be able to solve for the X? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But Mike, also when you do your initial, when the initial interview was done, I do a very extensive interview.
Heck yeah.
Okay. And that's only the start. I mean, there's hours that are spent before I even get down to a proposal or an engagement letter, because you don't, when my experience is when the business owner calls you up and says, I got this problem, that may not be the real problem.
Yes.
Okay. And if you do the interview right, and you ask the right questions, and you ask a lot of questions over time, you're really then able to understand, is that the real problem, or are there other problems? And you're able to create your mandate in such a way that you can collaborate with a number of people in a very cadenced approach to solve the real problem.
So, but how did you get there? So, like, this is my observation, is when you're more experienced and you've done this for a while, you're better able to get that traction with that business owner in pre-work, like in the
Discovery. Yep.
And well, everybody's got a different word, but that's what my observation is when you're younger or less confident, sometimes like, I bet that your discovery now, Barry, is worlds different than what it was 20 years ago.
Well, it's not only that, well, a lot longer ago than that.
I was just trying to be nice.
I appreciate that. It goes back to the auditing experience. One of the first things that you learn as a young auditor is to peel the onion. And as you peel that onion, you get down to the middle of the onion, and then that's when you really understand what's going on. And Mike, to your point, it does take a lot of experience and a lot of practice to get to that point. And George, maybe this is a topic of the next summit, or even a lesson or a course that, how do you ask questions?
Steve and I were just talking about that beforehand. And that's what I think, Barry, I think you highlighted something that's absolutely critical, is how do you get a business owner that hasn't hired you yet to trust you enough to answer questions so that you can determine whether or not you can actually deliver value?
Yeah. And by the way, are you qualified? Like, are you qualified to be my client? That's a big part of this as well, right? Yeah. Love that. Barry, I love the idea, Barry.
I don't know how you build trust with a prospect, but I don't know how to build trust with a prospect other than asking really good questions and understanding the problem and demonstrating that I understand, that we can weave in and out of these things and show. I don't know how you do it other ways. That's the only way I know how to do it.
Eric, you're right. It goes down to the quality of the questions and the questions that you asked, and how you build the next question on the answer that you got from the previous question. And that is just experience. That's just, doing it, failing, doing it again, failing again. I mean, it's not just where you.
It's not having the list. You're right, Barry. It's not having the list of questions. That's not the secret sauce. It's the, how do you sequence the questions? How do you drill into an area? How do you draw out that person? How do you read them and draw them into the conversation rather than getting yes and it's all of that. Right?
It's all of that. You have to have a certain basic set of questions.
Yeah.
And the level 1 and especially level 2 of Growth Drive is a good baseline to develop those questions. You don't even have to have the software in front of you. You could set your question set up around it so that even later you can take the answers to those questions, and produce the report.
Right.
Well, I've found
100%.
when I'm going through Clarity One, I found actually it's the answers I get when I ask the question. So you ask one of the questions, let's talk about your senior leadership team. Are you this, that, 1 through 4, right? And they give you a score. It's all the other things they say when they answer that question that are a gold mine, right?
Which is why we went with a modified Likert. Like we want to prompt the sharing. Heck yes.
Right.
Yeah, Eric. Guys, something we're talking about, and something I said, from the stage down at Madison. We talked at the summit about the difference between knowledge, which AI can get for us, and wisdom.
Yeah.
And it's the wisdom, right? To be able to ask questions, to be able to back up, because I can, teaser, give you technology that will help with the growth conversation. However, there's no technology that is going to it takes sophisticated people like each of you to bring the wisdom to the conversation, and to sort of hit pause on a question set and be like, wait a second, let's dig into that for a moment. Let's take our case, RST. Your brother does what? He holds you hostage every time you need to write a $50,000 check every time you need something done. So, Mike, fire away.
So, yes, great stuff from everyone so far. But to Barry's point, to Eric's point, to Larry's point, and Tim Silently's point, just because I spocked him a little bit, like one of the ways that you can, especially if you've got younger folks you're working with, right? One of the ways that you can look at this is through a commercial sales training lens, and you diagram out conversations. Like I find that the performance curve, right? If you do most of this anecdotally, that you're not going to succeed. I want you to think like you're an offensive coordinator for a professional team. You're going to be designing plays based upon defenses that your research shows you are going to be potentially used against you. If this is the scenario, what do we do? And so if then stuff, usually I find is only one level down, and it really needs to be done down 3, 4, 5 levels where you're like, okay, business owner says X. My potential responses are my questions, to Barry's point, right? And preparation is how you make up for experience. Like you cannot overcome lack of experience. I'm sorry. You just have to live longer, right? But the preparation for sales meetings isn't how do I get that person to buy? It's like, how do I ask questions? What research do I know about them? What can I glean ahead of time, right? That's the deal. And scripting isn't designed to imprison your conversation. It's designed to make sure that it's the second time you say something, not the first. Right? That's the whole reason scripting exists, so that it's not the first time. Like my whole I love referrals, how can I help you? If the first time you say that isn't role playing with another person in your company or a friend, man, you're just inflicting awkwardness at a intentional level on yourself.
Inflicting awkwardness. Yep. Hey, any comments on what Mike just said? Because I have a question for Mike. Anyone?
Well, we haven't heard from Sir Tim yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Joe is drawing. So
Yeah, I saw Joe drawing.
Joe's going to be
I saw Joe. Wait, hold on, Mike.
Joe's coming.
Joe's flipping the page, which means he's drawing on more than one page, Joe.
Joe's coming. What,
Joe's serious.
What's your question before you forget?
Mike, I could not help but notice that you have erased the whiteboard behind you and that you have written something on it.
It says 20.
Why does it say 20?
because that's how many clients for the new business I need for my wife to be at home.
Excellent. And to be at home and working with you on strategic referral team.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
20.
Stay tuned.
So I feel
actually,
I love that.
What I respect, Mike, is that your goal is a living goal, and it's personal as well, because
Yeah.
then it creates a higher level of motivation and action behind that motivation that you talk about.
And it's a butterfly effect when you make goals like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So like one of the things that people don't think about in the referral process is how do you get other people to volunteer their time for your future? Right. This is why most referral systems don't scale. It's because we don't understand that in effect, it's not just about your goals. You know, my new business model has my clients coming to me twice a year in Roanoke explicitly because of my son's special needs. And they will make decisions to become a client of mine in no small part because of that story. And that story motivating and giving them meaning beyond just money. Right. And this is like the three questions. Why should I meet with you? Why should I buy? Why should I refer you? It can't just be ROI financially. You need to, if you want to have real people with real success involved with you, they have to like helping you. They have to get more than just a financial return. And that is why it's not for everyone. Like referrals are not the safest way to grow. They are not. That's why I wrote Truth to Delusion with Ivan Meisner, right? You know, referrals are the most dangerous way to grow if you're not committed to delivering that type of emotional ROI as well.
It's important. Peer groups are important. And yesterday, I had my monthly meeting with my CEO peer group, and there's a gentleman in it who runs a $130 million business, and everyone in the room thinks they idolize this guy because he is just so cool. He sponsors a NASCAR. He treats us to a lot of stuff, and he's so generous. Yesterday, he was almost in tears. Then he needed the group. He needed the emotional ROI returned back to him after 2 years of showing none in terms of emotion. Always so cool. And he almost broke down because he has a situation at work where he has to terminate one of his most beloved employees, and that he's very close with and has watched her kids grow up. And as a guy who's an S on the disc profile, it's all about his people. And this is just destroying him, but he has no choice. She violated certain trusts that there's no returning from. And so here, what we do, and you talk about the emotional ROI, the key to all our success is identifying the emotional that's keeping up.
Yeah.
Our
And one last point, like my system is designed to help people identify the referral partners that want the emotional ROI. Like you've got to understand it's not about who can refer. If you're looking to predict and scale this, especially across an organization, it's only about being able to identify who will refer. And that emotional ROI is what sustains it going forward and makes the investment. Because referrals, Jemiah, I bet you've got buddies and friends. Like the initial investment to get to trust with somebody is significant. And so when I make those investments all the time, my friend, but I do so based upon data, which is verified on an ascending matter so that I can continually project success for them and me. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Like perfect sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
100%.
We still haven't heard from Sir Tim.
Yeah.
Tim is deep thinking, Tim.
And we're waiting on the art.
I don't see Art on this call, Mike.
Oh no, Joe knows what I'm talking about.
He knows.
And that's because
Coming.
Joe,
It's coming.
Joe follows the right team.
Good morning, Tim.
Good morning. I'm just damn glad to be back. I haven't been on these for a few weeks because I've been busy doing mostly business development stuff and launching the firm. And I'm just finding this conversation incredibly satisfying. We're evolving in our qualification for prospective clients, and my number behind me would be 10. That's my release number. And so thank you, Mike. I was going to comment on the fact that you changed your board, but I understand why. And I agree with everything that's been said so far, and it's pushing me even harder, faster. It's big. It's a massive affirmation of the direction that we're heading in, along with maybe a dozen or two really great tips on what to make sure that we do or don't do. So I'm appreciating taking all this in. And it's great to see you all again.
Awesome.
Welcome, Jemai.
Yeah. Love it, Tim.
And happy birthday, Stephen. Is that what I saw?
I was first.
There was
Yeah, Mike was
a
first.
plane flying by here with a banner that said, hey, it's Stephen's birthday.
Oh,
Was it
yeah.
your birthday
LinkedIn
today,
plane?
Stephen?
The LinkedIn plane?
Yes, that's what it was.
I got to pay attention to LinkedIn then.
Happy birthday, Stephen, man.
Happy birthday.
You get married and another birthday. It's not a bad year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Stephen, is it a big,
Thanks
is it a big birthday?
You're like,
I'm just saying, if someone manages to get married and not have a birthday in the same year, let me know, because that'd be really interesting.
It'd be sad.
it would be sad. Make sure your insurance is in order.
Yeah. Or, yeah.
I love it. Tim, Tim, I would Mike Desiato posted in the community last week about how do we this ideal world, ways in which Tim is busy evolving his firm, ways in which we see other working groups sort of coalescing. Larry, you're part of one. Joe and Ed, really collaborate very closely. It's fascinating to see, Tim, because your thinking has changed, and your intent, probably remained the same, but your strategy for achieving that, the way you're going to execute the mission. Any comments?
I just think it keeps getting more refined, more focused, and more refined. Focusing more and more on we're all in on the strategic referral team. That's close to 100% of what we're doing, and doing that better and better. Looking forward to Roanoke, by the way. So that should be a liberating day. And Barry, I think I sent you a notice I think that's a conflict with the study group. But in any event, we are focused entirely on helping win the trust of what I would call pipeline suppliers. So we are not busy trying to flag down, individual business owners in the wild, catching rabbits with our bare hands, as I like to call it. Instead, connecting with, or maybe in addition to that, primarily connecting with pipeline suppliers like M&A professionals or, investment bankers, or businesses that are already either considering exit or have it in their future, have been flagged, and they need value acceleration or value development ahead of that, and then having those companies simply use us as their trusted resource. So we would 2 or 3 of those relationships of PE firms that have acquired companies and now need to be more valuable. The big revelation in the last few weeks has been that a more friendly, like a lot of PE firms are just playing blackjack, just get to the next hand. I either hold or fold, or they. I think the family offices care more. My sense is, anyway. I've yet to prove that, but I think the family offices acquire businesses and have a vested interest in them becoming more valuable. Who doesn't run a family office that wants their profile to double every several years because the businesses are more valuable? So maybe a few local family offices would be good pipeline suppliers for us.
It's fascinating, Tim, something you just said, and a point that was made at the Madison, just happened to be the professionals in the room. there's a sector of our advisory world where clients are moving where investors and the players are moving from how soon can I get out to how long can I stay in. And when we think about Mauna Loa, for example, we think about how private equity is a hydraulic, right? It is a market, and it is a market where the water will find its way into all the nooks and crannies. There's still $2 trillion out there of available capital, both dry powder and debt. Private equity is now taking, and Mauna Loa being a great example, Andrew Sachs, great guy. He is one of us. Where he's like, listen, I'm going to take a minority, non-exit position in your business as long as it has the strategic capacity that I'm going to get my annuity. Right? That's what he's really looking for, is an annuity stream. And family offices, what I heard at the MIG conference, Medicine Insurance Group, MIG conference, is that you have a lot of family offices that are coming to the same conclusion. How do we don't want to flip these things. We want to have a very stable, long-term relationship with a business where we may not need to be in control, right?
Well, the family office has an annuity mindset. They're looking to manage cash flow
100%.
versus execute transactions, which is, Tim, why that's brilliant.
And they want to participate in oil wells.
Correct.
They want to get them chips off the table. They want to participate in an oil well. And
ways what financial
by the way, they want to be an oil well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So,
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
man.
it.
Thanks, Tim.
We need to be careful with family offices because of one word: family.
Barry's undisputed expertise. Go ahead. No, you're absolutely right. We can laugh, but you're absolutely right. Play that out.
And you talk about asking a series of questions. That's where the rubber meets the road with the questions. Because there are things with the family that you need to be careful with when you're getting into some of the real nitty gritty. Now, if you focus just on the business and it's an investment, it's a different story. But if it's a family business, you really need to understand how to deal with families.
Yeah, I think to Tim's point about the family office, working with the family, I've got a lot of experience in financial services, and I've done a lot of stuff like that. Working with them as a direct client, that's a different world. That's a different world. However, working with them to help drive value acceleration, growth drive in their client businesses that feed the annuity, because that family wants that paycheck. That family wants that legacy stuff. That's where I think Tim's talking about, because now the secret, Tim, is you got to understand that they're looking for the buy and hold, right? They're looking for an annuity type relationship with that family business for all of the charitable reasons and all the other reasons. So I think it's brilliant.
Oh, it is. If you can get in, it's fabulous. You have multiple family offices and single family offices, and in my experiences, there's a distinct difference between the two.
1,000,000% agree.
Yeah.
Can you explain that, Barry?
Well, you have firms that manage, like Pitcairn, for instance. They're on the East Coast. I forget what city they're in, and I met one of the Cairn family members. They manage multiple families in their offices. And then you have, I'll use a famous name, the Pritzker family, okay? They may have a family office, but it's only those businesses that are owned by that family. And I chose that name because a lot of people know that name.
Yeah, it's hard to miss.
And, if you look at the history of that family, for instance, there's a lot of history. And every family, no matter if it's small or large, has a lot of history. So it's fascinating business if you can get it.
There's a ton of them in Florida and Tennessee and Texas because of taxes.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
I just put a message up, guys. I need to ask if we could please shorten this by about 3 minutes today. I have a meeting using this room at 10:30.
You're gonna have to kick us out.
You know that?
You know, it's amazing how quickly an hour goes.
It is amazing how quick. And that's why I looked up. I was like, holy.
Well, George, let's go around the room quick
Joe's picture. I want Joe's,
I'd love to start with Mr. Battle.
I want Joe's picture.
Oh, well, we'll get the two stories. First, Jemiah.
Joe gets his picture and his takeaway.
All right.
So,
Jemiah,
Jemiah,
what's your takeaway?
the key takeaway for today?
A great takeaway is, for one, I'm grateful to be in the room with all you seasoned professionals and to hear the different perspectives on how to serve business owners and their families, and just making sure that we're serving them from our capacity, and that we're actually being a service to them and doing, as Barry was saying, being able to do what we said we were going to do, and serving them however way that looks in that capacity and getting the job done. So that was a great takeaway, just being of service, making an impact. Yeah, that's one. I got several, but I'll stop it there for a second.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Jemiah. It's great to have you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll shift over to Mr. Lorenz. On my Hollywood Squares, you're all the way across the room. Good morning, Joe. Uh-oh.
You're muted, Joe.
Chair.
Uh-oh.
Good morning, guys. So what I'm trying to do is look at our onboarding process and bubbles related to conversations we're having, right? So a little bit of your business. How do you qualify what do you want from business? The 3 biggest challenges or AM thoughts. This is a lot pulled from the 90IO stuff, but the idea, how effective your team, what are those 3 things that we really believe we can solve? And that's my input. Is it still, how are your meetings, how aligned are your organization, what kind of accountability exists? Then get into your organizational structure. Who sits in these seats, right? Now, the question specific to the growth drive is to follow on, say, okay, what do we believe in the growth drive engagement? What are those 2 or 3 things that we could bring back? And that's the pivot.
Upload this to Circle.
Yeah. I was going to ask the same thing.
Because we have,
Yes.
yeah, that's the growth drive methodology. We start with, what do you want from your business, right? Where is this going? Where's your story? What is your life leading? And then how can the business serve those life goals? Heck yes. Yeah, there you go.
It's a good tool to put in front of us. And as we create the solution, we turn around and give the work product to the owner right then and there, and to say, do I capture the moment in time of where you are today?
I appreciate you guys. Peace.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, I got to drop as well. Joe, this is terrific. Please upload.
Put it in Circle.
If you're willing. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. All.
Great conversation this week. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll put it in Circle.
Okay, awesome, man. Thank you. Again, Jemiah, welcome. And we'll talk soon, guys. If I can help in any way, let me know.